There we go. What's up, everybody? This is Skyfire News. For the next hour and a half, probably, we got some crazy stories for you. Tonight, we're covering Havana Syndrome. It's been in the news everywhere, what you need to know about it and how it relates to UFOs and UAPs. We also got some fun space news in the mix, anything from Venus to a snake robot that NASA's designed to go explore alien worlds and alien moons. And of course, Lou Elizondo has launched his official website, and we're going to react to it live because I haven't seen it yet. And I want to know what's your guys' take on it as we go through it. It's cool. I think it's cool when everybody gets a website. Why not? Why not Lou? Lou can have a website. Great stuff happening today from other streamers. I saw some episode from Vetted. It was really good. And more stuff continues to come out and bubble up. I know that our man Pavel had a good interview today. Got to say what's up and shout out to everybody in the chat, though. First one here today, George Dragon in the mix. Good to see you, man. We also got Johnny Party. Heck yeah. We got Alien Girl. Alien Girl, good to see you. You guys, if you guys don't follow Alien Girl, you really need to. She says, great thumbnail. We tried. You know what I mean? We wanted to make it so people clicked on it. And I think the Havana Syndrome is represented in the UFO community best as, is it aliens or is it the military? We don't know. We're trying to figure it out, just like y'all. We got Anthony Jones in the mix as always. Good to see you, man. Let's see. Etaniel? I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I love that you're here. Cataclysm Zim. We got Memory. Are we live? We are now. Memory Hole. Dude, we got a lot of the fam from X in here on YouTube. That's what I like to see. If you're watching the stream on X right now, why not? Why not just pop over to YouTube, hit the like button, possibly subscribe to our channel? I think that's the move. We love having you all here, whatever platform you're on, but get over here to YouTube. Help us grow this bad boy. Ulrich is in the house. Good to see you, man. Asher's always good to see you. We got Red Panda in the mix as well. Red Panda, pop in whenever you want to, dog. Like,
what up, Chupacabra and live chat? Woo!
Dude, the live chat's going off today. I love to see it. I love to see it.
We got Havana Syndrome. We got Lou's new website.
That's right. That's right. He dropped a banger. Dude, he's on the World Wide Web right now, unstoppable, getting ready for that book deal, dude. I love it. Who else? Sandy, good to see you, Sandy. Skinny Bob, oh yeah, guys, it was a weird day. I told her, I was talking to Red earlier today. I think that April Fool's Day is my least favorite day as a ufologist.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my opinion. It's so rough. It's so rough. You can't trust a single thing that gets talked about. You don't know what the hell's going on. Like we got Jaime Musan in here. Where is El Walrus Gordo? I need to speak.
Although, you know what? I'll be honest. You know who got me? I think they're in the live chat, maybe in a burner. Estimates got me today. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Did you click on it?
Is this the one where he said he said that he was on Hard Truths with Ashton Forbes?
Correct.
That I clicked on it and it was a cat Rick rolling me.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I did. Yeah, I just saw that. You know, take advantage of it. Why not? Why not? We got Boston Deadhead in here, dude. For real, Boston Deadhead. Good to see you guys. You guys are all kind of keeping it live for the Skyfire family,
dude. That's honestly a real thought. I mean, just in general. Wait, go back real quick.
To Tuba. Was that the one?
No, the one about, here we go. Lying Lou's site probably puts a rootkit on your system. Honestly, I'm not just saying this about Lou Elizondo. Links from people you meet in ufology. I don't know, man.
Oh,
I've been getting links for a long time, and this community, some of these links that people send around are pretty sketch, not gonna lie.
Dude, we owe it to the community to give out like a kind of a public service announcement. There are a lot of people in the community who are very tech savvy, and they will create these weird websites for you to click on. And then, what is rootkit? What is a rootkit? Like, is it a way to track your activity, track your phone? The list goes on.
Camera. And now we're not saying Lou's website does that, but just general. Whenever clicking on a website, just be cautious.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Dude, love seeing the chat here. We won't waste your guys' time too much. We have a huge thing to crack open besides Lou's website, which is Havana Syndrome. What is it? Why is it? It's been in the mix for years now within the UFO community. I mean, going on 2, right, Red? If not a little longer.
Jaime Masan in the chat says, "Where is El Walrus Gordo? I need to speak."
I need to speaky.
El Walrus Gordo.
I like the speaky part. That was pretty
Wow.
surprised it didn't say me need to speaky. That would have been really good. So Tuba, I want to buy a hat, please. Yeah, we'll put these on the marketplace. Our merch designs are going out soon. We're gonna have t-shirts, hoodies for you guys, and not just the branded logo, but something fun for ufology. You know what I mean? We'll bring it over into the mix.
Yo, Boston Deadhead, if you know about this stuff a lot, hit me up on Twitter. I feel like you probably know how to check if certain sites have this stuff too, which I think would be helpful.
Dude, he's dropping facts right now for real. He's saying that it lets you set up a botnet or do many horrible things. Well, let's hope that's not.
Or do many horrible things. Yeah, that's whoa. What the
well, man, I like that. It's kind of crazy, but dude, a Tupagramma sweater too. Yeah, we can do that. We can pull that off. I want to do this one. I think this would be like somehow, if we can pull it off, this would be like a cool like sweater or something. Us two in the woods. Like a print.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think people really vibe with that.
Question, has your grandma ever had an experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So
maybe one day we'll get her on the show. Maybe we could like cover her face or whatever, but that would be like a nice completion of the arc, right? Here. I mean, I'm sure it's
I'm gonna
wild.
put the most random woman on and say that she's my grandmother. Just like, wait, what?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi did say the aliens were already here. So, I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. I love to see in the here we go. Estimate of the situation.
Oh, you got him.
Dude, estimate. If you have any views, we love hearing your voice, by the way. We like having you in the community. If you have any views on Havana, man, pop in. We're trying to keep it, we're all guessing. What's the guesswork? I mean, I'm not a scientist or a doctor. Red's not a videographer, but Red, if you tap your monitor on your camera, you will become in focus.
There you go. Yeah. Boom. And actually, I'm just gonna pull up my file on Havana. I was looking at it earlier because that's the one thing that's interested in me about Havana is I was working on a video on this a few years ago.
Did people tell you not to do it?
People that I trust were like, "Hey, I'd be careful with that." And this isn't anything. I'm not trying to be like. It's like people no one would even know. Like they're not trying to make a name for themselves. They're not claiming to be some intel dude. Just people interested in the topic that we've talked to in the Discord. We're like, yeah, I don't know about that. It's still kind of unresolved. I know UFO Joe, who we know talks to some of the people, right? And I'm not saying he speaks for them by any means, but when people talk to certain people and then they have certain opinions, you could tell they're kind of influenced in a way. He thinks it's breakaway civilization doing it, but who knows?
I think breakaway civilization doing this, when you relate it to like what Gary Nolan has talked about, it becomes kind of possible. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's very, very, it has grabbed my curiosity and my imagination in a way, and it's had it for years. And the way that like a lot of the politicians and scientists speak about Havana now and how they did back then was like definitely hinting. And I'd love to find, if you can, that clip of you super chatting to Lou.
Oh yeah,
question of like, hey, is Havana Syndrome related to Slide 9? And this dude's like, listen, no comment, but it'll be on my website.
You want a Skyfire exclusive too? I found the little intro I had at the time for the Havana thing. It was pretty cool.
Yes.
Maybe if one of the things in my little 3x3 interest you, we could watch it, because yeah, there's a long history of psychotronic weapons, right? Whether it's whatchamacallit or not.
Long history. It's scary, man.
This is like not even done at all. But I love these little 3x3s, you know. All the different animals they were.
Dr. James Frazier has researched electromagnetic effects for the Air Force for over 10 years, and he, like a small but growing number of weapons experts, feels that radio frequency, or RF weapons, could be the wild card in the ongoing arms race.
They demonstrated theoretically and also demonstrate experimentally that low frequency, low energy electromagnetic fields also can possess biological efficiency.
Do you realize the fantastic possibilities if from the outside we could modify the inside.
As she concentrated on his heart, the man's steady rhythm began to change rapidly. Willing it to slow down, Kulagina pushed the man's heart to a point approaching cardiac arrest.
Yeah, let's get it.
Scanners, baby.
Fun times. Yeah, it was just a
Risky
little
scanners, dude. Like,
something down in the deck. But yeah, look at some of this. Look at some of these the stuff they were doing to monkeys to try and test this stuff. They did one with like a bull down here. They put some stuff in this bull's brain back in the day. The Russians were all over this. Soviets were all over this. Americans were all over it. Yeah,
you know
time.
why? The last frontier for any power structure, or the government, foreign governments, whatever. The last frontier is your mind. If they can get in there, then they can do anything they want to. So it's like it's a sacred personal space, and one that should not be invaded by alien tech or even military tech. Yet here we are, right? A lot of people have been made uncomfortable. A lot of people have been made victims of some kind of psychotronic weapon. It was something that was talked about years ago, but was definitely in the fringe, like pushed off way into the fringe. If you were talking about this stuff, no one really believed you. And then the Havana Syndrome started to get into the news. Red, are you good at like Google Trends or whatever? Can we see like when Havana Syndrome started to like kick off? When was it picking up? When did the term start popping up in Google? I think that'd be awesome. And recently, guys, there was a 60 Minutes piece on Havana Syndrome, and they said that this is a follow-up of their 5-year investigation. So they have a 5-year investigation. They just released a new video or a new segment on it, and we're going to clip through it. We're going to just run through it, see what we can find, and then we're going to go through old clips as well of ufologists and scientists talking about this in relation to UAP. Essentially, and I've tweeted about this before, what I think is happening, my interpretation of what all this stuff is. If you disagree, I'd like to see it in the chat. But it seems like, based on what we've heard from the professionals, from the pros, from the people on the leading edge of this stuff, that it seems to me that alien tech has been remade, reverse engineered, and is being used by world governments to do what the aliens used to do, right? What the aliens do, which is put thoughts and ideas in our head. We covered this last night with Chris Bledsoe. He received messages and images. And so this idea of like, what is happening, what's being put into people's minds, and how is that possible? Oh, here we go. Look at this. Havana Syndrome, a little blip. 2000, what is that, 2020? My eyes are so good. Oh, 2020, yeah, okay. And then it just boop, boop. What's that one, dude? What happened there? That was probably the first 60 Minutes piece on it, right? 60 Minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Kind of intense. Like, and I know what I said was kind of crazy, the idea that reverse engineered alien tech would be able to access our thoughts, but look into aliens for any duration of time. Look into abductions. Look into 3 abductions. You will find that mind control is definitely part and parcel to their activities and what they can do and why they do it. But what I found out through researchers like Robert Duncan and victims like Len Baer from Russia, like these guys are, they're suffering. They're suffering quite a bit. The things that are happening to people is just terrifying. And I do want to let Len Baer kind of describe what it's like to be a victim of this stuff. Because it's terrifying. It's terrifying. It's terrible. And it goes into like Manchurian Candidate type stuff. It goes into some really dark areas that I don't think a lot of people like even going, but we have to talk about it. I
have that Lou clip ready too, if you want that.
Roll that Lou clip, dude. Let's see it.
Roll it.
Here's Red Panda putting his money where his mouth is. Literally, he's got $4.99 on this question. He gets it asked. Is this on UCR? What is this on?
This is on Christina Gomez, friend of the show.
Gomez, dude, she's great.
Yep.
What's her look? She's always doing this, like her, like
and dancing.
Yeah, but her thumbnails are on point. She knows how to be like.
Red Panda Koala says, Lou, do you think Havana Syndrome is related to UAP? Sounds like A-tip, slide 9.
First of all, a profoundly relevant question. One that I'm not prepared to answer right now. I'm thinking in my mind right now the number of individuals that would be breathing down my neck if I could go into that.
Who would be breathing down his neck, Tupa?
Christopher Mellon,
That's what I went to
Gary
first.
Nolan, Kit Green, Hal Puthoff, Eric Davis. I mean, if I was going to have to rattle off names, those are the guys I think that would be like, Lou, get out of here, dog.
You know, there's some very interesting peculiarities. I am not qualified to discuss the nuances of Havana Syndrome. I think we are still trying to figure that out. That's all I can say.
Red Panda Koala
Dude,
says,
NDA Lou, bro.
That's all I could say. So the reason why this question is so effing good, Red, is because you knew what you were talking about before you asked the question, right? Which is slide 9. Now, for those of you who don't know what slide 9 is, one of these UFO insiders had a PowerPoint presentation kind of in the back end of his website, and people found it. And what they found was a slide from a presentation. And slide 9 in particular says a bunch of crazy shit. It's crazy what it says. And it looks like it's tech that people are aware of. It's very matter of fact. It's like, yo, here's some stuff that the enemy might be able to do. And it's like instantaneous sensor disassembly. What the fuck is that, dude? Like, okay, let's get through this. Here's the slide. Now, Red, was I right about the provenance of where this slide came from?
It came from Chris Mellon.
Christopher Mellon.
He accidentally leaked it on his website, the equivalent of which we're going to look at Lou Elizondo's website. I don't know if Chris Mellon still has a website. Maybe we should check too and rank them all. Who has the S tier website? But
they all go back.
Apparently, it showed up on there for like a day or something. Someone found it and then it circulated. That's probably exactly what was meant to happen.
Okay, so
I think it also appeared on Unidentified, that History Channel show they did. Yeah.
I think so too. The science exists for an enemy of the United States to manipulate both physical and cognitive environments. Okay, let's just dissect that right away. The science exists for an enemy of the United States to manipulate both physical and cognitive environments. That means the physical environment that we're in, and then how you perceive the environment in your mind.
Wow.
And it says an enemy of the United States. Could that enemy be a country, or could that enemy also include a foreign species? Could it be talking about aliens, right? Do they refer in some documents to aliens as enemies of the United States? I think that's a great way to hide it, right? The idea that China or Russia can do this is frightening, but based on even your research, Red, and the films you put out, it is clear that these things are available, that they've been looking into it, especially Russia.
Yeah.
Right? Psychotronic weapons. Oh, let's just finish, I guess, the opening. Physical and cognitive environments in order to penetrate U.S. facilities, influence decision makers, and compromise national security. So penetrate U.S. facilities. That could be an embassy. That could be a nuclear test facility. Influence decision makers. Those are what is going on with Havana Syndrome in decision makers, right? And also influencers. Right? Like, what about people like Amy Eskridge, who was out there like researching anti-gravity, right? She's not a decision maker, but she was a researcher, right? Like, you go into all kinds of other stuff like this, and compromise national security. Psychotronic weapons, cognitive human interface, and then they call CHI, which sounds like
that sounds so official when you say it like that.
Yeah.
Got a case of CHI here.
And it's just an alien talking to you. Penetration of solid surfaces. I mean, that's like Uri Geller type business, right? That right? You know what I mean?
Like we talked with Pavel. What happened to Pavel with the shaman?
Oh my God! I didn't get a chance to talk to tell the story, but my father, he's from a Polynesian island. There's all kinds of witchcraft and like old school stuff going on over there, and he had a similar story. He told me, so similar. These indigenous cultures,
or something like manifested in his mouth or something like that, and he spit it out.
Like the story my father says is that like this medicine man would take like a straw, like a tube, and then blow through it and onto somebody's skin, and then their skin would open up, the flesh would open, like voluntarily kind of just open, and then from there, fingers inside pulling out like little black like sludge balls, and it's intense. And he's like, yeah, I've seen it. Like that happens all the time.
We got to go do a Skyfire News field report of that.
Hey, Skyfire News is going to send us to Polynesian Islands for the winter. I'm into it, dude. Get us
on
over
Boeing,
there.
On a Spirit Airlines Boeing.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, black goo. Black goo with with mass. You know, the way he described it sounded like cancer. You know what I mean? Some kind of oily black mass sliminess. But that's people reported this all the time. I mean, yeah. So it's a different vibe out there in these indigenous communities. But yeah, this is slide 9, dude. It gets pretty intense, pretty freaky. I wonder if there's anything like this on the back end of Lou Elizondo's website. Mm-hmm.
Oh, we should look. Or like how
Mm-hmm.
the Danny Sheehan website had some hidden gems, huh?
I think so. I think we have to do it, dude. So yeah, we got some fun stories. Let's just get through these real quick. All right, so this happened. Is there life on Venus? People need to know. And they're going to find out. NASA's on to this. Researchers from MIT conducted an experiment to simulate Venus's sulfuric acid clouds. For those who don't know, Venus is super hot. It's hotter than it needs to be. It's the hottest planet, and it's not even closest to the sun, right? And its orbit is backwards, or it spins backwards, right? All kinds of stuff is going on with it.
Isn't it super different on like multiple different fronts than all the other planets in our solar system?
Very different. And there's only one person in the world in history who predicted all of the differences, and he correctly predicted all of the differences and unique aspects that Venus would have once we got there. He made these predictions before satellites were even invented, right? So he made these predictions. People thought he was nuts. They laughed him out of the scientific academic community. He collected, because they said that, okay, like, look, you can have these theories, but how you came up with them, how you source them is all wrong, right? So there's Emmanuel Velikovsky. He was like, yo, I looked through all this the human story, right? Within the human story, within human history, recorded human history, there is enough, this man said, Emmanuel Velikovsky said, there's enough information in the human record to identify where Venus came from and how it ended up where it ended up. That it's all these myths about Venus having long hair and being the feminine goddess and all this stuff. It's not a myth. These are myths that are wrapped around facts in order to keep it in the human memory, right? Because if you try to explain what happened just as event to event to event, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. So they come up with these huge myths about the introduction of the divine feminine and whatnot. And where that comes from is that while Venus supposedly was making its way from the outer solar system inward, that it had a comet tail, just like Hale-Bopp comet or Halley's comet or any other comet. It was a big object with its own magnetic charge moving through the heliosphere, which causes a wake, like a boat through water, right? There's a wake that comes from it. And that wake is essentially like the cometary tail. And so it looked like it had long flowing hair to people for like 1,000 years. And it just made its way from the outer solar system inward. And Velikovsky thought that, and he wrote that down. Everybody laughed at him. They literally had his books removed from libraries. And then they found out, once they launched a satellite and sent it out there, that all of his predictions were right. Not only his predictions about Venus, but also about the rest of the solar system, like every planet having a magnetic field and Venus spinning backwards and being the hottest because it's the newest, he said. So whether that's true or not, how he got to those conclusions, the conclusions he got to were right. And so, yeah, there's a lot of unique things about Venus. So if MIT is going to go there and they're going to test out the atmosphere and they're going to test all this stuff out, I think it's going to be great. But I don't think it's going to yield much results in terms of life, alien life on Venus. I think it's just too new, right? There's no way you're having life there. And if we get it, then cool, right? It may be in the sulfur acid clouds, there might be some type of form of life, but whatever, we get there, maybe we can confirm or deny Velikovsky's findings. So that could be a good thing.
Very cool. And we got Lou Elizondo in the chat. He says, my website is looking very good, I must admit. Please check it out. Some nice photos of me when I was young. We will be doing that, Lou. We got one more story to get to, and then we're going to move on to your website. We're looking forward to it. I had to fight all my urges to go look at it just to save it for this reaction here.
All right, let's get over there. Moving on, we have EELS, NASA's snakebot for alien seas. They are trying to figure out the best, most efficient website. I'm over here thinking about Lou Elizondo. They're thinking about the most efficient robot design to explore alien worlds. And this snake design, I think, is great, right? It's articulating. It is strong. There's a lot of things that it has on it as well. Let's check out what kind of features it's got. It's got the EEL, that's what they're calling it, the Exobiology Extant Life Surveyor, right? Over 14 feet long. Ooh. That's like Python length. You know what I mean?
That's huge.
It's pretty big. I mean, they found a new anaconda. I think it was 28 feet long. So there's that. There's a perception head with sensors and cameras for environmental awareness. Let's look at this again. Imagine you are an alien just minding your own business, and this thing just kind of goes by and it like looks at you, and then it starts crawling towards you and it's scanning you. I'd be scared shitless. I think this is like a power play, in my opinion. This is like a Earthling power play. We're gonna invade you're never gonna know what we look like because our robots look like snakes, and you're gonna be terrified. Fun fact: all monkeys in the jungle, regardless of the species or the troop or anything, dude, like all of them have their own unique word for snake and for eagle.
Interesting.
Very interesting. It's like the first and only word that doctors or biologists can really identify in all of these different monkey species, meaning that the snake and the eagle is its biggest threat.
Dude, but I have a video of this thing. Should we show the people what it looks like moving? Pretty fascinating.
Hell yes. Hell yes. We need to see what this the eel.
This is one of those things you got to see, right? Because it's like, what's going on?
You really do. The eel, baby. Okay.
Oh yeah, let's play.
It's going uphill now,
and let's talk about it as it keeps going.
I'm not a robot designer, dude, but like watching this robot on a flat surface of ice that's perfectly like even and made, like that's you're not going to find that on any planet, on any moon, dude. This is where you need to test it.
Oh,
this is where you got to test it, dude, because you're going to land and you're going to be down a crevice and shit. Like, dude, it's going to be really hard.
Didn't you love it when like science imitates nature?
Always the best, most efficient designs. Always. All these robots are building that like our person. The human body is the most efficient like traveler. That's why we have more endurance than any other animal on the whole planet. We're not the fastest, but we can run the longest for the longest period of time.
Very cool.
Very cool, dude. That's the EELS. That's MIT, a bunch of nerds. You know what I mean? Getting together.
Shouts out MIT.
Shouts out MIT. You guys are really you're making the difference out there. But your robot, I think, while it has a very sexual look, it could be even sexier. All right, you guys got to work on this design.
All right, chat. What animal would make the best like space probe robot? A spider, maybe?
Yeah. But I mean, like, let's think about the terrain too. Is it terrain
Dragonfly?
Oh, dude, that's a great answer. Like the ornithopters of Dune. Just fly through the air.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
Right, just fly through the air. Flying squirrel's interesting. I think if we can drop off 60 of the Boston Dynamic human robots, dude, and they could like climb on each other's shoulders and create human bridges and stuff out of themselves, I think that's what we need. Like 60 robots per planet, per moon. You know, they need to send them out. They need to all be able to like work together like drones or whatever. Each one needs a detachable drone, goes from its like head or whatever. I think that's the only way we're getting through this. We can explore the whole damn solar system in 2 years with that technology. Or a human robot, kind of wild. Guys, we got to get into we have to move on right to Lou Elizondo's new website, dude. Why not? A former director of ATIP, Lou Elizondo. Love this picture of you, Lou. Pop in the chat, Lou, if you're still in the mix. We want to know what was the inception point behind the website. Is this to promote the book? What is this for? Red, do you want to get us to the louelizondo.com?
Yeah, let me just do that real quick.
Hell yeah. Let's get some music in the mix while we wait, because why not?
Where we at?
Guys in the chat, I'm really pumped you guys are here. This has been a really good show so far.
I'm blocked by all the people posting, you know what I mean? So I gotta
look, guys. We're just talking about the news, all right? Let us live out here. A flying stingray. I like that.
All right, I found it.
Hummingbird, maybe. Yeah, losing the mix. He said you decide.
Okay, here we go.
Man, I'm excited to see this. I haven't even looked at it yet. I haven't clicked the link.
Yeah, all right, let's see what happens.
All right.
If I called you,
sorry, I had to do that. Let me find it right now.
I was like, sick website, bro.
All right, here we go. So this is Luis Elizondo official.com.
Ooh.
I like the color scheme, Lou.
You see, he got a logo.
Oh, Stephen Greer in the chat. My app is far better than that silly WordPress site. Dang.
Shots fired.
Dang,
Shots
dude.
fired, dude.
And go one day with.
It's already, dude. Okay, so Lou Elizondo, for those who don't know, he came out a couple years ago. He's been basically on the tip of the spear as far as the UFO disclosure at an official level goes. He works with a lot of other big name guys on these organizations. He was supposedly the director of a program called ATIP, which was the Advanced Aerospace Threat Investigation Program, something. Either way, it's a long word for these guys research UFOs for the government. There's been some recent dispute about Lou Elizondo's reputation, what he really did, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that it's top secret. So he's an interesting figure, a hero to a lot of people. We appreciate his service as far as his military and veteran status for sure. But when it comes down to the trust me, bro, UFO truths, we are waiting, and this website could be the next thing that gets us a little closer to the truths that he knows. The book, obviously, the final player or the final boss in that battle. But this is his website. What do you think right off the bat of the homepage?
I like the look. It looks good. I got a question for the chat. Be honest. Do you think there's any kind of weird backroom tracking stuff on this website? Put 1 for yes, 2 for no. Am I compromised now that I've clicked on this website?
Ooh,
is that why you told me to do it, Tupa?
Dude, is there? Yeah, I can't. Could there be? Lou Elizondo is not just the thing that I just said, the director of these other things. He entered the space with a Cuban hat and a red shirt. And he said, "Listen, I'm not a ufology guy. Never have been. Never will be. I'm a counterintelligence guy, counterinsurgencies. That's what I do. It just so happens that in 2008, I was asked to come into the UFO community and apply that skill set there." So if we have to ask ourselves, could someone from the intelligence community, a counterintelligence operative, right? Counterinsurgencies, counterterrorism, could he have put something in the website? Maybe, but I think he's having too much fun with this. I see Lou as a fun-loving guy. And I think that this website's going to help him out with that.
I asked, do you think this website has any kind of weird backroom tracking? Is my computer compromised? Press 1 for yes, press 2 for no. Terrestrial Material says 2, no. RJ says 11111, yes.
Oh my God.
Lou Elizondo says there is no tracking. All right, well, thank you, Lou, for confirming that right here live on Skyfire News exclusive.
From the horse's mouth.
James says yes, there is backroom tracking. Buddy James also says there's probably backroom tracking.
Uh-oh.
Unlimited says no, I don't think there is.
Right on.
B says, I think the coherence figures out a different date to release. Cataclysm Zim says no. Lou says don't be silly. Boston, the one who was giving us the knowledge, says, I'll have to look at it myself, but 1.
Then he follows that up with
1.
A big yes. A big yes.
Aussie Tiger says 1.
All right.
Boston Deadhead says 100%. Oh, did he do it right now? Did we find out right now?
He's digging right now. Get off the website. Get off the website.
Take over the stream. And just put tupacobra.com on the 1. Lou Elizondo says, please don't misquote me. Okay, we won't. All right, Lou, we're going to continue. I like the color scheme. Also, too, but I don't know if you noticed this up in the top left, this little E.
I like the logo. His logo.
I think it's the unveiling of his logo now, right? I've never seen this E before.
I see a little L in there, too. Like you could say that it's an L and an E mix.
Oh, shoot, Lou.
Right? Like it's
great job on this logo. Yeah, the shadow is an L.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an E.
It reminds me of the logo I made for the Felon 5. It was an F, and the 5 was like in the background as a shadow. So it was like, I think there's don't be so paranoid.
Dr. Stephen Green in the chat says he stole the background from the cover of my unacknowledged DVD.
Oh, let's take a look. We gotta test that plan.
But so all right, we're gonna scroll through now. Welcome to the home of Luis Elizondo. Join the disclosure program. Should I click on this?
Loving what I'm seeing so far.
Just see what happens.
Virus detected.
Welcome to Luis Disclosure Platform. Join below. Oh, I mean, I misspeak all the time. Oh shoot, sorry, I didn't. I've got to have to share this tab instead. This is what it took me to. Ooh. Welcome to Luis Disclosure Platform. Join below.
Wait,
is that a little bit grammatically incorrect? I'm not trying to be like a grammar fiend, but welcome. to Luis Disclosure Platform. Join below.
I think it needs an apostrophe after the S. To imply like possession, right? To imply the that it's ownership. Welcome to Luis's disclosure platform, right? Now, some fonts that you use in these, maybe it's a WordPress, I don't know, maybe it's Squarespace, right? But some of the fonts, the apostrophes or did you see that? Go back up, scroll back up. It goes behind the trees.
Oh, Lou, that is killer.
Yeah,
I like
did
that.
yourself.
That was really cool. Let's do
Really
that one more
good.
time. Look at this,
Really
guys.
good.
I'm loving this. Look at the way I kind of like it more the other way. Look at when it comes up. Oh,
You know, I will say
that
this
was
though,
cool,
Lou. All of these layers, these trees, those could be moving too and parallaxing, so that as you go down, they change. And you know what I mean. The ones closer move more. You're going to get a lot more depth out of that. That's my advice to y'all.
I was not expecting this, Lou. Plus, that's a solid. We should give it a ranking at the end.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. What are we going to go? How many UFOs? 1 to 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's go back to this this one. So we're just going to scroll down because I think this top right bio stuff, I think it goes through it as you scroll down.
Look at Stephen Greer says, okay, that's impressive. Must be alien tech.
Even Stephen Greer is impressed by that, Lou.
Yes.
Good job, man.
Good work. Good work.
Oh, and Lou says, okay, note taken. Yeah, it's all a constructive criticism, bro. We edit.
Mhm.
Oh, dude, all the typos on Skyfire posts. Lord have mercy. No, I'm just kidding.
Lord have mercy.
All right, so then we got sign up for disclosure updates directly from Luis via this official channel. Explore projects. Understand Luis' mission statement. Explore history and bio. I think another apostrophe error, right?
I'm not the grammar guy, right? But I do know that doesn't sound right when I say it like that. So they're gonna need to.
All right, mission. Luis. Oh, there we go. Good apostrophe there, Lou. Good possession.
I want to get his like look down.
Should I zoom in a little bit too?
Little hand in the mix, and then he's like.
Luis Elizondo's mission is to champion government transparency, including but not limited to disclosure of unidentified aerial phenomena (UAP), in a meaningful way to affect positive change for our society. I like that.
Yeah.
With the belief that truth and honesty are the best approaches for a collaborative future, his work is deliberate and calculated, with the goal to challenge current mindsets and policies to enable joint efforts across all government people, institutions, organizations, academia, and scientific communities. Success of this endeavor is only possible with the help of our global citizens and the courage of those within our governments to demand the truth. Is this website the Storm?
I think for it to be the Storm, it has to have a better color scheme, but that's just me being a snob, dude. Look at this weird.
I like
goal.
this.
You
I
like
like
it?
the goals.
Okay.
I like this
Okay.
edit. Who was this? Fettuccine? Yeah.
Well, actually, we do know that some other like really good like Lou fans, fanatics, disciples, however you want to call them, like they are known to Photoshop, even on MS Paint. We hear, right? So
This is definitely a Canva little shade thing at the bottom right here that they threw on, I think.
Oh, I see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying.
I
A little
like it though.
gradient.
This looks cool. This page, I'll rank this page an A, honestly.
5 UFOs.
5 UFOs for the mission page.
5
nice,
saucers.
short and sweet. Actually, yeah, why not? The color scheme is weird though. This isn't the color I would have expected for Lou to pick.
It doesn't. It clashes with the homepage, and it seems like they brought this color out of the photograph, right? They eye dropped the photograph, like they just found colors that were there and they pulled it in. Guys, I want to see the flow, right? I want the tree theme. I want that color theme, like to like play.
Well, the trees are still a little bit back there. You see them a little bit back there?
You know what? I do see them back there, but we went from blue, cold, cool blue to like a warm gold, even though it's a little greeny. I don't know. This is my opinion. I was using CSS though. Okay. All right,
let's go to the next one. Projects.
Ooh, he built the Pentagon. I'm playing. We're just having fun here.
UFOs investigating the unknown. The truth. This is the new one. This is the new one that they're talking about, right? Let's look at this. Let me just go here real quick.
UFO.
Oh, look at this is his logo. Yeah. The truth behind U.S. government secret program. Blah blah blah. And this is a
full episode. Oh, okay. I see what's happening.
We won't play the whole thing, but let's see where he's at in here. Oh, Lou.
The mothership and tinfoil hats. The mothership.
I want to see your face, bro. There we go.
I like the blueprint.
When you hear the term UFO.
Wait, when did this come out? That looks really recent.
Hit the YouTube button. Let's find out.
Let me open it. 11 months ago. Cool.
Dang.
Good job, Lou.
Good work.
All right,
Tinfoil hat was mentioned. 11 months ago.
We got Unidentified America's UFO Investigation. Each of these have their own little thing too. Look at this. Great stuff, Lou. I like the way this is put up there.
Mm-hmm.
You scroll down. We got
Now
Chris
we're
Mellon.
talking.
This was the Explore Both Seasons on Amazon Now. This was the one they did on History Channel when they first came out the gate, which honestly, I think helped push the ball forward, that show.
Yes.
Even though surprisingly, a lot of people within the UFO community didn't watch it. I think we forget, like, dude, Skinwalker Ranch gets like insane numbers.
It's the highest rated show on the History Channel right now.
Yeah. So, so far, so good. I'm liking this, Lou. This is cool. Pentagon and ATIP. This is going to be interesting. Let's see what he says here.
Hey, from Derek Daughtry says that's the Leslie Keane series. Correct.
Oh, is she the one who like produced that? Good for her. I thought it was like a Tom DeLonge TTSA thing. So this is his Pentagon ATIP thing. So this is going to be interesting, right? Because for years now, there's been contention. John Greenwald, The Black Vault, Stephen Greenstreet, New York Post, Elizondo. Did Lou run ATIP? Was ATIP a real program? Was ATIP just the Jack Sarfati email chain?
It was so funny. I'm just a mod. I'm a mod on Jack Sarfati's email chain, so I run ATIP. Red, what Red's talking about here is the question of, does Lou Elizondo hold the position he said he held? Is it real? There's actually been dispute about this. Is he representing facts here? A lot of people, but one of them being Stephen Greenstreet would say no. And he's done a lot of investigative research to determine that answer for himself, right? Whether or not everybody believes that, I think it's kind of like up in the air, but it's caused a lot of dispute. Is Lou who he says he is? And has he done what he said he's done?
And those scabs are just reopened, right? With the Arrow report, the recent Sean Kirkpatrick Arrow report. Because this had been the talking point. This was honestly a talking point like 2 years ago. And it wasn't even really in the lexicon. And when Manny 503 made his documentary. But now with the Arrow report coming out and saying basically the same thing, that ATIP was no official program. It had no funding, right? It was just kind of a group of people within the Department of Defense who were interested in the topic and looked into it themselves. So let's see what he says. Let's get some music up. Let's have fun. We're having fun, Lou. We're having fun here, bro.
I'm going through Lou's website. Never thought I'd see the day. Wait till we review the book. It's going to be fun.
In 2008, Luis was asked to be part of the now famous Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Ooh, interesting. That alone I find interesting. I guess we'll just read it through. Where he managed the counterintelligence and security aspects of the program. In 2010, as a staff member for the Office of the Secretary of Defense, he assumed the role and senior officer for his the lead role and senior officer for this endeavor. Where am I at? Okay, here we go. The mission of ATIP was to conduct scientific-based intelligence investigations of incursions by unidentified aerial phenomena into controlled U.S. airspace. Luis directed this effort for 7 more years, where he diligently tried to engage senior leadership to increase focus and attention into this important topic. Many years were spent by Luis and his dedicated team of intelligence professionals collecting data, interviewing military personnel on UAP experiences, and working with various intelligence agencies to bring the issue to light. While managing ATIP, Luis was privileged to work with some of the most legendary heroes and pioneers of the U.S. intelligence community, including Dr. Hal Puthoff, Dr. Christopher Kit Green, Mr. Chris Mellon, and Jay Stratton. Ooh, that's some interesting stuff. That might be worth pausing the music for a bit. Do you see that? What do you think about that?
I'll reread that. I just saw this terrestrial material brought attention to the fact that the date at the bottom of the website says 2023. It's been in the works for quite some time, ladies and gentlemen. We're into April already. All right. So this 2023 business at the most is 4 months old, but it could be as old as a year. They could have been working on this for a hot.
Kind of reminds me of when he moved to. But this was the one that I found interesting. So he says, in 2008, Luis was asked to be part of the now famous ATIP, right? So he's like, it's a thing. Sure, whatever. Let's go with that. In 2010, he assumed the leadership role for the senior endeavor while managing ATIP, which he ran for 7 years, right? So that's 2010 to 2017. While managing ATIP, Luis was privileged to work with some of the most legendary heroes. Look at that. He uses the word heroes. You guys got to pay attention. I'm not even saying that's a bad thing, but just pay attention to language. And pioneers of the U.S. intelligence community: Dr. Hal Puthoff, Kit Green, Chris Mellon, and Jay Stratton. So this is interesting. I'd actually love to hear like Manny or Black Vault's take on this, because I think this puts their timeline a little bit earlier than previously thought, maybe. Because he's saying he worked with these people from 2010 to 2017, maybe not that entire time, But while he was leading it, not I was leading it and then I retired and we made this thing with these people, but I was actively working with these names. Very interesting. Any thoughts, Tuba?
Yeah, I think it's constantly revealing itself to be a little bit more in depth, a little bit more connected, a little slightly more incestuous.
Incestuous?
Yes.
Oh.
There is a lot of intermingling within these programs, but these names in particular keep coming up. We have to ask ourselves, as people who have been interested in this topic for years or a lifetime, right? That we keep having the same 5 or 6 names come up, and we have one window into what the government truly thinks about this program, or sorry, about this movement, and that's the window through Arrow, right? The government's UFO hunting program led by Sean Kirkpatrick. Kirkpatrick has come out and released reports and done interviews and made public statements that essentially what's happening is a core group of believers has kind of infected the research from a government level, and the research from the government level is halted or stunted because of this core group of believers, and we know who they are, and they're all named right here, and it kind of feels like there's, at the very least, this is a sign of a doubling down from Lou's part and the disclosure efforts part to hold their ground, right? And saying that they oppose Sean Kirkpatrick's characterization of their efforts. They oppose it, and they're willing to stand on their names and business to do so. They do not want to be viewed as grifters or as liars or a core group of believers. They really want this, they being this group here listed by name, they want this subject to be looked at scientifically, academically, and at a government level militarily. And I just feel like that's fine and that's dandy, but someone at some point is going to have to explain this to the world, why these 6 people are connected, how they're connected, what they believe in, why they believe in that, and where they think this topic is going. Until then, I side with Sean Kirkpatrick's characterization that this is a core group of believers trying to get the word out through their methods, and their
This
names
messes
being
up
brought up.
Chris Mellon's timeline too, I think. I think he was like, also what I find interesting is he says, and Mr. J. Stratton, right? And there is some like beef between them. So it looks, I kind of feel like it's kind of like what I feel like happened with me and Black Vault, which is the air report is just kind of making everyone go like, all right, we all gotta, because previously, and maybe I have this up ready to go. Here's what so Jay Stratton was Lou Elizondo's boss at ATIP, right? Allegedly.
Which is the government program for UFO hunting, ATIP.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and here's what Jeremy McGowan said Jay Stratton had told him.
Also, and about McGowan, Stratton also said, and this is a quote, this is not a paraphrasing. He goes, "I've gotten tired of cleaning up Lou's shit."
Okay, well, that kind of gives the gist of it, right?
So Jay Stratton, a government guy that not a lot of people know about, he doesn't have a big public image. He is above Lou Elizondo, right? So whatever we think Lou Elizondo's doing, whatever we think he's been up to, he knows. Jay Stratton might know more.
Well, should we listen to that clip then? Actually, it is pretty illuminating because he explains what his relationship was with him to ATIP. I'm kind of down. I think it's kind of important because this is a huge development. Because why it's important too is after this kind of, it seems like they were really strong when the Grush train came out. They put out a joint statement. Then there was this weird rocky period where you have McGowan saying that Jay Stratton said he's tired of cleaning up Lou's stuff, which also, if that was on its own, that'd be one thing. But it was also accompanied with Danny Sheehan, Lou Elizondo's lawyer, doing the podcast circuit, accusing Jay Stratton of being a paid-off disinfo shill.
I agree, but remember, we're dropping multiple names.
Too many
now.
names? Okay.
We're dropping a lot of names without a lot of backstory. So there is, I don't know how to say it, there's so much drama behind this stuff where you'd think it would be simple. Having government people involved in this, you'd think it would simplify it. It has not. It has not simplified it. There are factions, right? We have people who get involved with Lou Elizondo who don't like him afterwards. They start fighting, and the fighting isn't just like, it's not just back and forth. It's it gets brutal. It gets brutal. There's a lot of reputation
Danny
sneering.
Sheehan was calling Lou's lawyer, basically, just to make it clear for people, was calling Lou's old boss a disinfo shill, and everyone had worked at his company. And now, I mean, I guess it's good to see, right? You'll have to see people come together and like not be throwing those accusations. Lou Elizondo, I see you're in the chat. What happened with that? Why was Sheehan saying that Jay Stratton and Travis Taylor were being paid off by Big Aerospace? But Boston Deadhead, because Lou backstabs everyone. I almost wonder if this is him being like y'all ain't leaving me. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I'll be honest, like Lou tends to weaponize language like a lot. I see it happen all the time. I first noticed it at the ufology must die article he wrote, right? That's when I noticed it first. He's weaponizing language. He speaks, very carefully, very tactfully, and every sentence has a meaning. By the end of it, you're supposed to walk away with a certain feeling. You're supposed to walk away with a certain impression of other people. It comes across kind of a little, I feel patronized. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? I feel like I'm being patronized. Like and I no offense to Lou. I'm just saying when when you're speaking to everyone in the class, you know what I mean? This might be effective, for the casting a wide net, talking like this, but it is a method. It is there.
I kind of want to watch a little bit of that clip.
Watch the clip. Watch the clip. So Jeremy McGowan and Lou Jimenez are talking right in this clip. McGowan used to work with Elizondo on one project, and they had a falling out. And so now what McGowan, this guy right here behind the mic, what he's talking about is information he gathered from Lou Elizondo's superiors, right? People who work above Lou Elizondo were able to share their view and their perspective on Lou in some capacity to McGowan. And McGowan's telling this to a friend of the show, Lou Jimenez, right over here.
And also, it's not just the, which I personally don't consider drama, but this interview actually learned a lot about the, like what Lou's job duties were within ATIP, because through Jay Stratton, he kind of explains it, and it kind of shows how Lou would be in a position to know about those 3 videos that he ended up leaking, right? So I do think this is actually some really good, concise stuff here.
Today, because we knew that Stratton was there. I basically cornered Stratton in the main ballroom of the conference.
Yeah.
And I walked up to him. And
I can
think
just
he was
imagine
talking
you.
to.
Hey, come here. Just
Well, no, I
cornering him.
stood behind.
How is Lou Reviews using the likeness of that actor? No, I'm just
And
kidding.
I think he was talking to James Keenan at the time.
Okay.
And James had a booth there. Stratton was standing there talking to James. Stratton's wife was about 3 or 4 paces behind Stratton. And I just stood there and listened for a few minutes. And then I just tapped Stratton on the shoulder. And I was like, hey, I don't know if you know who I am. I introduced myself. He goes, yeah, I know who you are. And I was like, okay. The only reason I'm talking to you is because I wrote these series of articles on Lou. He goes, I'm aware. And I said, I just want to know if I'm on the mark.
And just real quick, the summation of his articles on Lou, we talked about the show. It was on this guy, Jeremy McGowan, real quick. He was an experiencer. He posted about his experiences on Reddit. Before you know it, he's on the History Channel show with Lou. Before you know it, he's, I think, spending some weeks at Lou's property in Wyoming. They're working on a bunch of projects together too. But you're frozen, I think. Oh, no.
I'm in the mix. I'm just lean back.
So basically, he got, and I'm not trying to make this an anti-Lou thing, because really not. But he got close to Lou, wrote some articles, and he wanted to talk to Lou's boss about, like, hey, what do you think about me writing about my experiences with Lou? Because he found some shadiness. We won't get into it too much today. I'm more curious about how Lou's role within ATIP was described in Jay Stratton.
If those were legitimate experiences that I had, or what your take is. And I will preface this by saying, I asked Stratton for a picture. He allowed me to take a picture of him, and he asked that the picture not be posted on social media. And I have not posted the picture on social media. He did not ask me to not divulge our conversation on social media. He only asked me not to post the picture. Because at the time, I think it was timing context, Stratton wasn't known to be at the conference. He was there with Travis Taylor at the conference. Anyway, when Stratton replied to me about Lou, he told me exactly what Lou did with ATIP. And he said it wasn't Lou's program.
In other words, what Lou's job
ATIP.
was.
He told me that Lou never ran ATIP. Now, I will say that Stratton did speak as if ATIP was an actual program, but he never confirmed nor denied that it was. But he said it was not Lou's program. He said it was his program.
Yeah, so look, it wasn't Lou's
It
program.
was not Lou's program. He said it was his program. He told me that he selected Lou because of Lou's knowledge of people and other programs. And I'm paraphrasing this. I'm not saying an exact quote because I didn't take notes, but I'm paraphrasing this from memory. Stratton said that he chose Lou to bring access to ATIP of other programs. I was like, what do you mean? And this is where I'm paraphrasing. He goes, and again, not a direct quote, don't hold me to this, but this was the gist of what Stratton was talking about. For example, if ATIP was looking at an incursion of Chinese drones over, let's say, the USS Roosevelt or something like that, and there is another department within the DoD that has that information, and ATIP did not have access to that information, and they couldn't put two and two together. They couldn't do a full analysis on the case because they didn't have access to that information. Stratton would pick up the phone. He would call Lou. Lou would make an introduction to the person that ran that operation, and then Stratton would have access to the information that he needed.
So do you see how he knew about the Go Fast Gimbal Tic Tac within that position, as described by Stratton, if that's actually how it was?
I mean, yeah.
He was the liaison between ATIP and like all these different programs. So everything that they were looking into, he was the one kind of getting the video, getting this. So it seems like, and this again isn't necessarily a bad thing, but we've all heard that he goes around showing people like special videos. That's why he knew about the Tic Tac Go Fast Gimbal, in my opinion. That's how he's able to have these secret videos he has unlocked. I think this might be some of the stuff he's threatening that Kirkpatrick with the storm and stuff. Some of these maybe, and this is also, chat's gonna hate me for this one or love me, I don't know. That's why I think something's up with those MH370 videos, because some of the people that we see him interacting with constantly, and that would have been during the exact time for it. Like, okay, here's the easier way of saying it. If the MH370 videos are real, Lou Elizondo would have been in a perfect position to know about them.
Damn.
And probably pocket them. And the fact that people within his camp are the ones who resurfaced them this year, I find suspect.
Damn.
And the fact that Sean Cahill, Lou's boy, said what he said about those videos, I find interesting too.
Now, you asked Sean Cahill. Well, we don't want to throw too many names out for you guys real quick, but the idea is that Lou Elizondo and his like fan group definitely were the people who resurfaced the MH370 videos that came out in 2014. And when they did so with an agenda. And when and this is well known for me anyway, it's definitely provable.
Well, you have to think Gimbal and Go Fast are 2015, right?
2015.
He's a liaison between all these weird anomalous UFO military
Yeah.
things. So if those videos are real, he totally would have known about it.
Yeah.
Just like he knew about Gimbal and Go Fast a year later.
Yeah, and if the videos were going to get leaked or outed again, it would be through this little, the arms, the extensions, the fans and on social media who do this stuff. But that's a story for another day. You guys are going to lose your mind when you find out the real story behind MH370 videos, what was going on behind the scenes as Ashton Forbes was talking about it, and why it started to become such a big contentious like moment, and who was behind that as well. But let's get back to Lou's website if we can.
Yeah, let's get back there.
Let's get back to Lou's website. And after we finish up Lou's website visit and exploration and tour, that's a better way to call it, we're going to dive into Havana Syndrome officially for the last little bit of the show, so we can get on the same page with everybody and crack this egg open and see why Havana Syndrome is important to the UFO topic and what exactly is it as far as we know. But without further ado, we got to finish up this tour of Lou's.
So that was just interesting. That was interesting. My point being that him and Jay Stratton are on good terms. Apparently, it seems like, or he's like, y'all ain't leaving me behind. One or the others.
Well, you can easily, like we say, friend of the show every day, right? And we're talking about people who have actively blocked us. So I mean, the idea of weaponizing the name drop in the website and knowing that Jay's not going to clap back or make a statement about it, he might just be utilizing leverage there. And
I mean, how would you feel, Chupa, if someone's lawyer was out here on every podcast accusing you of being paid disinfo shill, which also comes with a lot of the stuff we don't have to get into the details, but like when people get marked like that and entire companies get marked like that, like stuff comes with that too. Like and then your name's in it. It's kind
Well,
of
having never been attacked online or targeted by any group of people, it's hard for me to identify with what might be going on with Lou and Sheehan, right? But if I had to put myself in their shoes, I would say that I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want any of this dispute. I'd want a very clean game. I'd want to come out with a very clean plan, and I would not want groups of people suspicious of my background. I wouldn't want people being, I wouldn't want people like Green Street making, documentaries that are hours long and last for 2 years, like 10, 20 documentary pieces about how I'm inflating my position. That would be rough. So Lou's got to go through a lot here, and it just seems weird when it should be cut and dry. In my opinion, should be very cut and dry.
Aussie Tiger in the chat says, likey, smashy, smashy. Great point. Everyone smash that like button if you're watching live,
Yeah.
if you're watching from the future.
Yeah,
we're
it
going to
helps.
finish the media. Rep Norman says, Lou Elizondo absolutely corroborated David Grush. Oh, nice. Askapol's a plug. Are we going to see a Matt Ford thing in here? UFOs and National Security with Luis Elizondo by the Washington Post. Very cool.
Very cool.
How UFO sightings went from conspiracy theory to serious government. I don't know what that's on. People's 100 Reasons to Love America in 2021. GQ UK Heroes of 2020. 2021 was Lou's year, bro. That was Lou's year, dude.
Certainly
People's
was.
100 Reasons to Love America. That's where that photo came from. I forgot the iconic photo that everyone loves. The truth is out there, so is Elizondo. Oh, the 60 Minutes thing too. I think that was all in the same year, bro. GQ. So you guys understand why it's like how he's able to. Oh, and then this was what people were liking too. I think this is the first time we see the cover of his book, which I don't even know if this is going to be the final thing. The description is not yet live, but of course, one of the key things probably to have on this website once the book is released, links can go to your D2C store. I don't know what that is, but what do you think of the book cover? He's on his tree vibes lately. I like that. Maybe being out there in nature and stuff like that.
I think that book cover sucks. I'm going to give y'all my flat opinion about the art. That's a shitty book cover. He better work on that.
He needs to be on it. I want the pic of him sitting in front of the flag on the table. Or he's like Don Lou. I think that's what the cover of the book should be.
I like Cuban Lou. You know what I mean? On vacation with the hat. I think that's really cool. But he needs a new photo shoot. Okay. He needs new PR materials. That's 100% true. He does.
Yeah.
It needs to be updated. He needs a new look, right? He needs to take such good portrait photography or in action photography or videography that people go like, damn, like Lou's new and improved. He's onto something else, right?
Hit us up, Lou. We'll help you out, dude. No, I got you some Canva tips and whatnot for sure.
We can make that happen. You want to see a good book cover, but I think the trees are fine. It seems to like it's giving me unidentified vibes. It's giving me American cosmic vibes. You know what I mean? It's very 2021. It is. We need to move past this, guys. We need to advance these aesthetics. But as far as Lou's website tour, guys, go visit yourself. Is it louelizondo.com?
I don't know. I honestly don't know if I co-sign that. I'm not trying to be paranoid, but yeah, no, it's staging2.luiselizondoofficial.com. I don't know what that staging 2 is.
Okay,
though.
Don't go to the website.
What is
you saw it, you guys saw it here first, so you don't have to figure out the address. That just is what's wild. staging2./spy.spyware.gov, dude. I don't know. When people used to ask for my email, I used to always tell them it was something.gov.cia, and that was always fun. It's always fun. Terrestrial Material says, link on his Twitter. Lou says, oh, come on. Yeah, we're not paranoid, Lou. We're just having fun, and we're a little paranoid at the same time. And speaking of paranoia and fun, I think we have to get into our topic, dude. The topic to end all topics. The thing that's been blazing through the news for years. A 5-year investigation by 60 Minutes. Multiple statements by people like Gary Nolan. Are you hacking the mainframe over here? Is this?
Can you hear? I don't know. Ever since I clicked on that site, I can't.
Oh
see
no! Oh no!
No, I'm just.
Into the stream. We're getting attacked over here.
Can you hear me? No, okay.
I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, so guys, we're talking about Havana Syndrome. All right, it's a big deal. The animation is cool too. It just pops out. So Havana Syndrome, what is it? What's it been reported as? Why do we give a shit about it? It's a big question. No, people keep saying it, and it's like whatever. It's not a syndrome. What's happening is that people they're feeling as if they're being targeted. All right, you ever have like a weird headache? You ever get like weird you know, like we've all had like a weird moment, right? Buzzing in the ears or something. But have you ever heard a voice? Have you ever heard a voice of someone you knew insulting you, judging you, judging your life decisions, telling you to go somewhere, to do something? I've never had that, right? Have you ever had a buzzing in your ear that won't go away, and then suddenly the buzzing starts to sound like a voice, right? A lot of people report this. It started to be reported by diplomats, foreign American diplomats over in embassies and in other countries, in Cuba, Havana. That's why Havana Syndrome popped up. But it's not just there. It's Russia. It's all over. So, you know, ambassadors and their families are being targeted and attacked. Now, attacked? What's happening? Is it just voices saying do random shit? Sometimes. Is it images? Sometimes. Is it like? Is it sometimes just a nonstop flood of discouraging comments that are meant to break down the ego? Most of the time. There's a man named Robert Duncan who's studied a lot of people who report this and have reported this, and he has identified multiple military operations and military technologies that exist and have since the 1950s, some of them as far back, that are designed to create sounds in the brain using microwaves and these micro bursts, these micro cavitations that vibrate the organ of the brain within the skull, producing sound and sound waves. This is a very intense thing. Imagine you're just driving through Cuba, or you're visiting, you know, Istanbul or something like that. Imagine, and you start to like get this like intense, like feeling, right? A buzzing in your head. It's like disorienting. And then it turns into voices, and it turns into all other kinds of stuff. One of the things that they do with this technology, something that Robert Duncan called sweeps, that they will sweep your brain. They will do this with AI. And that sweep, what that refers to is a scanning and a probing of certain parts of the brain, the dopamine centers, the fear centers, the visual centers, the auditory centers. And then once they can key in on these specific things, then they can manipulate those using microwave technology. Dopamine dumps is a good example. Imagine your friend, you know, is suffering from this, and you guys go to the mall, you go hang out somewhere, and you know, they suddenly become very happy. They don't know why. And then about an hour later, it crashes and they're very depressed, right? We might think, oh, you have a chemical imbalance or something. But what we might not consider is that they are possibly a victim of a foreign adversary, whether it be alien or Chinese or Russian or even secret military tech experimenting on their own citizens over here. Happens all the time. So that's kind of why Havana Syndrome is so important to the news, so important to everybody. They don't want to tell you this directly, that it's causing and influencing thoughts. It's causing ego damage, to break somebody down, to build them back up again, to do what they want. This bleeds into Manchurian candidates, right? The idea of mind control, controlling someone, and not just with like with a zombie style, but like literally breaking down their ego, their psyche, using manipulation tactics, counterintelligence tactics to do this. That involves a lot of AI work. It involves a lot of research, but it is happening. It needs to be talked about. Absolutely needs to be talked about. I have a video I think you guys should see. Danny Jones interviewed a couple years ago a man named Robert Duncan and Len Baer. Robert Duncan's a scientist. Len Baer is a researcher. Len Baer is a victim. Robert Duncan's a scientist. And here they talk about, like, you know, voice to skull technology. It's a very good podcast by Danny Jones. I suggest everybody go check this out. And I think we need to see like what exactly it is. Voice of God weapons, mind viruses. I really want to hear it from Len Baer, like what it's like. He said he was diagnosed with Havana Syndrome. Let's start there. Okay. Let's see. Robert Duncan, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, mute button, ladies and gentlemen.
CIA think tank. At the time, I didn't know it. It was a technology think tank, and it was all funded by DARPA. And then I got shuffled around as a scientist to these various other projects.
For people who aren't familiar, could you tell us what DARPA is?
Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. They do all of the pie in the sky projects, long-term, well-funded. I have some of the best scientists, and it's mainly where all the top secret research goes on. and that some of it I can talk about, some of it I can't, and it's a very fine line.
So that's a little bit on his background. Here's Len Bear. Len Bear is a Russian expat.
To meet him, and we flew.
Russian expat, and now he's in America. He started to have these experiences.
What was happening?
I got something for you after too.
You were a civilian. You weren't working in the government in any capacity. So how does this happen to a civilian?
It just started happening. I developed tinnitus, the ring in the ear.
Len Bear.
First at in certain parts of the house, and I heard noises and voices, and I could not figure out, and then vibrations. These vibrations experientially, it's like nothing else. There's no neurological disorder that feels like that. And I can tell you, as a patient and as a physician, experientially, it is very distinct. Your whole body vibrates. Your head is heavy pressure. The sound is deafening. You get disoriented. Can't walk. Can't talk. It incapacitates you, and it can last from 10 minutes to 30 minutes to an hour and a half, and it's very painful. It's very uncomfortable, and it feels like concussion. After that, and you actually have symptoms of concussion, the movement of the eyes, nystagmus, and this is why some people give it the name immaculate concussion. But
the immaculate concussion,
I
just think about that. It means that your brain has an injury. They don't know where the fuck it came from. So the doctors gave it this name, the immaculate concussion. I think that's such an apt name. It's spooky, it's eerie, and it's there. We don't know. They're finding brain damage. They don't know what's going on. And the people they're finding it are saying, I'm hearing things, dude, all the time. I can't turn it off. Something's going on. It's very personal. This guy goes on. Len Bear explains that the voices he's hearing are his brother, his mother, his sister-in-law, his uncle, his cousin. Dude, it's crazy. How'd they get these guys' voices?
It was escalating. I was searching for an answer. I had convulsions from it, which is one of the things that people experience. I realized how serious it was. Neurologists were unable to diagnose. I started looking through the literature, found paper by Dr. Hoffer where he describes 25 diplomats that he examined and diagnosed with what he called acquired neurofunction, and that's the diagnosis that he gave to these diplomats, and he gave this diagnosis to me. But my attacks did not happen overseas. They happened domestically in my house, and I traveled and stayed at hotels, went to other states, and it was happening there too. So it's just not one location.
It's not geographically based anywhere. Everywhere he went, it was happening to him. Whoever's doing this has access to Len wherever he goes. Robert Duncan explains a little bit of how that's even possible. How could something like that even happen? And it's insane. Every single human being has a electromagnetic signature. We have our own frequency. Every human being, like our brain is vibrating at a very specific thing. And so the suspicion is that our government, other governments are scanning large swaths of people, getting their data, their code, their frequency, and then testing their technology by seeing if they can target an individual. Then when they successfully get a response from them, like whatever that entails, then they continue this process, probing, breaking down. They do it formulaically. And if there's a response, if there's, a proven reaction, they keep going with it, is what it sounds like. I don't want to, you guys got to go see this interview. Go to Concrete, go to Danny Jones podcast, and go subscribe and go watch this. I believe that like this is one of the most important pieces of content that you can force yourself to watch. If you're curious about Havana Syndrome, if you're curious about psychotronic weapons, if you're serious about ufology, this is definitely one of those things you have to see. I'm glad you guys are here watching this right now, so I can direct you after the show ends to go check this out. These guys are talking from the heart. I don't know if you're feeling what I'm feeling about Len Bear. He seems to be coming off very, very genuine, very sincere, and very concerned about what's going on. And I want to give him a chance to explain a little bit more about what's going on. We'll try to find the sweet spot there. But for now, keep listening.
And it escalated. Then I was diagnosed with traumatic encephalopathy, basically like post-traumatic brain syndrome. But there's no injury. There's no concussion. This is not a type of injury where you have mechanical trauma. Right. This is energy. This is what they call non-kinetic weaponry. And this is how we met.
Why would somebody like you be targeted? What were you doing? Were you dealing with other people in government or diplomats, or do you have any reason to suspect that somebody would target you with something like this?
None. I have no idea why I was chosen to be targeted, and
I'm pausing this to answer a question from the chat. As I see them pop up, I'm going to do my best to do that. You guys are being great today. I love these questions. We have, I forgot her name, but the anti-gravity researcher that possibly had Havana Syndrome before she died. You're referring to a researcher named Amy Eskridge. Amy Eskridge. Last year, I was hosting Twitter Spaces, X Spaces all the time. And one of Amy's close friends, after she passed away, came into my spaces and laid it all out for me. And he was really emotional. He was broken up, as you would be if your friend just passed away. And basically, there are some strange events surrounding her death. She was complaining about being monitored, about hearing these things, potentially suffering from Havana Syndrome. And just recently, dude, like this year, I was on a live stream with John Warner, with Jeremy Reese, the alien scientist, and another guy. I forget his name. I think it's Eric, but I don't want to misspeak. But turns out that Amy knew Jeremy Reese and the guy in the lab who we were streaming with. And he was able to say, the man in the lab, I think is Eric Sokol, I might be wrong. He was able to say that, like, listen, she was over here. She was in my lab and we saw a van outside. She said she was getting attacked and we saw evidence of it. And when I heard that, like, it just started to click, like, holy shit. Could we have an active case of this within our own field? Hard to say. I mean, again, this deals with like death, potentially, I mean, suicide, I mean, mental illness. It deals with a lot, and it's a hard thing to talk about. I don't have a medical degree, but we do have to talk about it. You know what I mean?
It was Mark, Derek Dougherty. It was Mark,
yeah. Mark Sokol. Was that right?
Correct.
Yo, nailed the last name. Thank you guys so much. Sorry I got that wrong. But yeah, check into that too. Go to X, type in Amy Eskridge and watch the names that come out. Ashton Forbes talks about Amy a lot recently. Tiff talks about Amy a lot. I mean, the Stoned Ape, there is research that has to be done, but it's strange when it first happened, dude. I remember talking about it, and a lot of the old heads, you know, not literally old, but the people who were in the community for a while, they were like, hush, don't talk about this. And again, dude, someone says that to me, I'm going to look into it even more. And what, you know, again, what I found is this is a sensitive topic. It's sensitive to say, I'm going to investigate someone's death. No. I'm not qualified for that. Right. I'm not going to give you guys how this person passed away or anything, but I can tell you that what she was complaining about, what she was saying, it's not that far off from what Len here is talking about. It's not. Very thankful this guy was able to make this interview. I'm gonna let this play a little bit more.
Keep no government secrets. I never worked for a government. I don't know what the reason is, and I'm not doing it. So perhaps people who do it to me would know the answer.
So is this something that you believe happened to you one time and it had like a lasting residual effect? Or do you think this is something that happened, you were targeted by some sort of weapon or something multiple times?
Good question.
Multiple times on ongoing basis. I just had 2 attacks this morning before I got on the plane.
He just had 2 attacks the morning he got on the plane. 2 attacks. What's an attack? Let's hear from him.
These are active attacks. And experientially, they feel exactly the same. The vibrations, all the symptoms are the same. And not only that, I have a brain scan that I did in April and did in October. So in 6 months, what this Havana syndrome is also described as brain connectivity disorder. So it disrupts connectivity between neural nodes within the brain. And I have these broken connections, these called delta waves, that you only supposed to have it during deep sleep. And I have them all over, and these are basically non-functional connections between neural nodes. And since April to October of this year, I have 20% more. There's no degenerative neurological disorder that behaves that like that. This is a very fast progress, and because I'm having this daily active attacks. These
daily active attacks. The process of breaking down the human mind. It's a long section, but I think it's important we watch this. All right. It's not just that these people are being like, voices are like, hey, you shouldn't vote that way. That's not what's going on. The psychological knowledge and warfare that is capable from powers like, powerful people or powerful agents is insane. The things they know about the psyche, the things they could find out about you now with the internet and social media to try to break you down is insanity.
What specific voices? Like what do the voices say?
All the derogatory stuff that I don't want to acknowledge it, don't want to give it credence, but it's one of those
listen to this
kind of shaming, derogatory, very negative, just
if you have, everyone has an ego. They will go through the most common ones first. Let's say you're a woman and you're concerned about your breast size. Well, they'll go after that. Or
so they're going at individuals specifically,
and so
your specific insecurities.
Yes, but first they have to do a broad approach to find out what your insecurities
are. It doesn't seem like time or cost effective.
Great question, Danny. He's asking the right questions here, and he's getting good answers. This is
how would you go about, if you were doing this to millions of people, how would you
scale it?
How would you have the time to go through each person, find out this person's overweight, this person is short, and be able to specifically tailor a voice to them?
I'll explain that. Think of it as a lie detector machine. It knows your stress levels. It can read them. You can do that from many different brain signals, but the P300 is a recognition signal, for example. It's just a term that's used for a specific strong effect after a stimulus. There's recognition. But if it's a lie detector test, whatever polygraph, we'll say those, you can defeat those with a little practice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, polygraphs are bullshit.
Yeah, they're total bullshit. But you can imagine, okay, so this is some form of a lie detector test, but maybe it uses heart rate and, can measure, some other factors other than necessarily neuronal ones. But whatever bothers you, it will continue doing. So let's say this is a robot, chat bot that's very convincing, voice morphing, and
he's already relating it to the AI we know about, right? Imagine this is a chat bot. and it can mimic voices. It can do all this stuff.
We sampled. We're the NSA. We sampled your. I don't know anything about your family, so hopefully, your great grandfather. He's dead, right? So we can bring him back to life. We can use his voice. We can voice morph him, and we can project it. And we'll say using the microwave hearing effect with a robot. We will go through. It doesn't matter if you had a good relationship with him or bad.
This is where
we're
it's
going to
crazy.
turn him into a bad guy.
Crazy. He's talking about, oh, we know that you have someone in your life that passed away. So we'll find a recording of him. We'll voice morph him. And then we'll use his voice to trigger you by a broad series of statements. Whatever statement elicits a stress response, well, now we'll just keep doing that shit. That's crazy. You have no defense over that.
You're going to respect them or something. I know this is a very off the wall kind of scenario, but they make it much more personal than that.
So whose voice do you hear?
Tell them
my family.
Your family's
my
voice.
family. They live in Germany. They speak Russian and German. I speak Russian, bad Russian now, and English. So all my V2K is in Russian. It is
V2K is voice to skull, projecting a voice directly to the skull by using the brain as the speaker, by vibrating the brain with microcavitations or microwaves, and then those vibrations can be turned into sound waves, and you can't stop the sound. It's literally coming from within your head. And how many people do we hear say, "There's a voice in my head"? It's in there. We can't stop it.
It's multilingual.
It's my mother, my father, my brother, and his wife, and they all talk about my lifestyle choices, everything derogatory. And I know it's not them; it's artificial intelligence, because nobody talks 24/7. Because my V2K is 24/7.
24/7. He talks about how he blocks it.
Noise canceling headphones, and I play voice audiobooks nonstop, so my brain would concentrate on that rather than on what's being projected.
That is terrifying shit, dude. I don't care who you are. If you just heard that, and now we know that Havana Syndrome is in the news all over, you know something's going on. Something weird is happening. Listen to this little intro, and then you can see, like, they're not talking about this stuff. They're like 60 Minutes they don't want to cause panic, number one, or distrust, number two. And when I talk about this, I feel that, like, I'm skating the borderline between, like, disregarding a real medical thing like schizophrenia or whatever, like manic, like hallucinations, like that's a real thing. But there's such a crossover with this technology. The person who was tasked to look through this for the government, brain scans of victims of Havana Syndrome, was also looking at brain scans of people who have had UFO experiences. And they were grouped together at first because they were similar. I'll say that again. The brain scans of the people who were having Havana Syndrome symptoms and the brain scans of the people who were having UFO experiences or paranormal experiences were so identical, were so similar, that initially they were in the same cohort. They were in the same group of study. It was Gary Nolan and Kit Green that found a minor difference between the two groups. It was able to say, okay, Havana Syndrome was a different thing, and what I'm looking at into is this thing. And we think that this thing, you watch the videos, watch my films. I'm sure Red will do a piece on this soon. Like the caudate putamen, the intuitional centers of the brain that seems to be non-temporal, there's a similarity there. So that's why the theory about, is this alien tech or is this human military tech? Is it reverse engineered? Right? It's in the mix. We don't know, but there's a similarity there. 60 Minutes doesn't really talk about that ever, but listen to how they talk about it, how different it is than an actual victim who was just on Danny Jones, Len Bear, how he was talking about it. Check this out.
Tonight, we have important developments in our 5-year investigation of mysterious brain injuries reported by U.S. national security officials. The injured include White House staff, CIA officers, FBI agents, military officers, and their families. Many believe that they were wounded by a secret weapon that fires a high-energy beam of microwaves or ultrasound. This is our fourth story, and for the first time, we have evidence of who might be responsible. Most of the injured have fought for America, often in secret, and they're frustrated that the U.S. government publicly doubts that an adversary is targeting Americans.
The story will continue in a moment.
One of them is Carrie. We're disguising her and not using her last name because she's still an FBI agent working in counterintelligence. She says in 2021, she was home in Florida when she was hit by a crippling
FYI, I know
force.
60 Minutes is pretty intense with their copyright.
Okay, we're gonna so this is the vibe they get. You can see that they're not really talking about. I do want to hear what she said, how she describes it. I think it's kind of important.
Inside my right ear, it was like a dentist drilling on steroids. That feeling when it gets too close to your eardrum, it's like that, times 10. It was like a high-pitched metallic drilling noise, and it knocked me forward at like a 45-degree angle this way.
She says she was by a window in her laundry room.
My right ear was line of sight to that window.
So again, they interview people who have had these weird, like, oh, a loud noise or a ringing, or I feel weird, I feel faint, I'm confused, I'm disoriented. They are not talking about the voices, which are a part of this. They are not talking about the instructions. They are not talking about the dreams. All of these are part of it, and they just don't chat about it. Everyone's doing a story on Havana Syndrome, The Hill.
Ear pain and headaches. It was dubbed Havana Syndrome. Well, last night on 6.
Ear pain and headaches? Is there a cover-up, Red? What's happening?
I think so. After this clip, let's get to the one I brought up. I think it's this one. I'll just play it
the
real quick.
implications of a weapon. With no
1985
visible
segment on psychotronic weapons.
1985?
Tanks, ships, and planes as fast as the speed of light. The same technology with modifications could disorient and even tranquilize military personnel, rendering them virtually helpless in the battle zone. These are the new weapons of war we will examine in this series. For the past 40 years,
we got to pause this and hit a banner. UFO intros with the $50 Lou Jimenez price.
Whoa, that's an hour. That's an hour of debate.
That's an hour of Lou Jimenez time. Thank you, bro.
Thank you, man.
So nowadays I'm all about the fatty. You better get some. Too busy hating, ain't getting none. Me, I'm all about the fatty. They getting none. Me, I'm all about the fatty. Yeah, they ain't ready for.
I'm gonna like that even more, dude. I'm getting like a Pavlov's dog kind of response to that track now. Dreams don't mean anything. UFO interest. I love that prompt. I'm gonna talk about that for like 3 more hours. Poor Red. We're gonna have to talk about that later on. Dreams, they mean everything. Check out my film, Shadows of the Invisible Sun Part 2. There's a whole section on dreams. Check out a live stream I did on Tupacabra YouTube where I go over that section in depth. Go check that out. And you could find out that UFO intros dead wrong today. But I love the super chat. Love the vibe of having you guys here.
Here's the girl I found interesting. It's like a girl who came from the Soviet Union. Could all be an op. Who knows? But I also haven't watched this in a minute, so I might be totally wrong. But let's see.
Magnetic stimuli.
Dr. Bob Beck, a PhD in nuclear engineering, has done extensive research into electromagnetic effects on humans.
The signal was permeating power grids in the United States. It was being picked up by power lines, re-radiated. It was
almost complete. I was surprised after coming here that the influence of electromagnetic fields was almost completely ignored here.
Dr. Larissa Valenskaya was heavily involved in Soviet electromagnetic research before being allowed to emigrate to the United States. She told CNN about Soviet research in electromagnetic effects.
They demonstrated theoretically and also demonstrate experimentally that
I love her accent.
Low frequency, low energy electromagnetic fields also can possess biological influence, biological efficiency.
Yes.
Because any field not only carries energy, but also carries information.
She stated that the research was carried out on orders from the Soviet government.
Her voice sounds like one of the witches from the movie The Witches. from the 80s, dude. That's in the way I've never heard a human being in real life deliver words like that, man. That's awesome.
Of course, the military were extremely interested in this potential of remote influence.
Is the United States military working in the field of electronic mind control? Officially, the Department of Defense will not comment because the subject area is, quote, too sensitive. But CNN has learned from this government scientist, who did not want to be identified, that a Navy laboratory conducted research into the use of an RF device for counterterrorism and special operations.
Counterterrorism. I'm a counterterrorism guy. Counterintelligence.
Can anyone guess whose profile that is in ufology? Is that maybe John Alexander? The hair, long.
You know who it looks like? It looks like a modern day Chris Mellon is what it looks like.
I was thinking it looks like Chris Mellon too. The hair a little bit. All right, let's listen.
It's possible to entrain a certain percentage of a population, apparently, with weak magnetic fields.
The study also showed that RF signals could dissolve certain types of rat brain cells at a distance, causing disorientation and nausea.
True.
According to the scientist, even though the program was successful, the government never followed up on it. Dr. James Fried.
Oh, successful. The successful experiment on new weapon, but we're just going to stop researching it. 1985, everyone. And how many of those terms and phrases were you like, oh yeah, that's the exact same phrasing as this, right?
This is what Robert Duncan was talking about, that this stuff goes back to the 50s, that they were heavily doing this in the 70s and 80s. They were 25 years deep by this time, guys. I mean, it's pretty insane. I'm nervous talking about this stuff on a stream. You'll find out that like it's a protected subject and they don't want people talking about it. Look at all these shows are coming out about Havana, and they're not really even touching on the things they need to touch on, right? Like they're not. We're talking about electromagnetic pulses affecting the brain. Here is an example of this, and they do this shit at like the Monroe Institute too. So you got in the Gateway stuff, you got to pay attention to this. They can put high intensity electromagnetic pulses directed at specific parts of the brain, and they can induce creative intuition. They can induce the artistic vibe. They can make somebody write poetry.
Can't they make somebody believe in God or something like that?
Everything. They can do anything now.
Like that's pretty mainstream, right? Like that one.
All of it. Well, the voice to skull tech, right, was interesting because the way that they did that, the voice of God in Desert Storm, right, when we were over in I think Iraq the first time, pre 9/11, right, Desert Storm, they tested this weapon out on the enemy and they pumped in, this is Allah, lay down your arms, to troops, and it worked. It actually worked. Troops put their arms, their guns down. Again, if you can invade the minds of somebody and have multiple people at once, the potential for your advantage on the battlefield is endless. It's literally infinite. It's a new type of battle, right? It's a new type of warfare. It's a new battleground. Your mind, and yeah, they can do all kinds of stuff. They've been studying this for a long time. I looked into the technology after watching that Danny Jones podcast and knowing about Amy Eskridge and knowing about all different types of MK Ultra, you know what I mean, experiments and horrifying things that the American government has done to its own citizens. We tend to forget about that. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that has just recently happened since 2020, right? There was a worldwide pandemic and one solution for it. And really look at what was happening at the time, look at what's going on now, and you'll find that, like, you know, the weapons, like there's so much research into this. I would love to go into depth. We're rounding hour 2 of this. We won't have time to dive into it, but guys, there's like medical research into this stuff that goes really deep, and the connections between a UAP or alien or paranormal experiencer, right? The things that happen to the brain of the experiencer is very similar to the things that happen to the brain of the Havana Syndrome victim. And we have to ask ourselves why. We have to ask ourselves, what are we seeing? Why are we seeing it? Why is this happening? Right? Like, and if we're not asking those right questions, if we're not asking and we're not bringing it up, like, look at this.
60 Minutes reported last night on a connection between anomalous health incidents and a unit of the Russian military intelligence service. What's the White House reaction to that report?
So I'm going to be really careful here. The intelligence community has not concluded that. Obviously, there was an assessment that intelligence community made, and so I would have to refer you to ODNI on their assessment. But that particular piece about Russia, I know that they had not concluded that.
You know what? I think I got to do it. because
the lie detector test determined that was a lie.
These fools are lying, dude. Look at her face.
Right? Why you always lying?
Why you always lying? Biden administration, friend of the show. The implications are too scary. All right, so here's my final word on Havana Syndrome. And Red, I want to hear yours as well, right? We're dealing with something that reveals two things: the depth of the human experience, the value of consciousness, the relationship between consciousness and the physical body, and the technology available to those in charge, what they can do. The sanctity of your inner world, your inner voice, your mind can be invaded and can be compromised. That's a horrifying thought. As we read and see and experience the news stories that are coming out day to day, year to year, month to month, remember that if the truth of this technology was really revealed, it seems that it would cause more panic than anything else, more suspicion, more paranoia, and it would become diagnosing people or even writing people off with paranoid schizophrenia. It would make that a little gray area. And one of the minds I mentioned earlier, Gary Nolan, okay, he has gone on the record and he is starting to question and wants to look into essentially schizophrenics, because there's something else going on. We might have been wrong. And I'm not saying that schizophrenia is 100% caused by any device. I'm not saying that. But the mechanics behind the cause of it, what these people are experiencing, it is tied together with what this technology takes advantage of, the parts of the brain the technology uses in order to accomplish its goal. And we should be very much paying attention to Havana Syndrome, very much paying attention to the work of Kit Green and Gary Nolan as it pertains to UFO experiencers. The app Enigma Labs should be looked into, watched, right, and supported as far as it can be. But there are things out there. We have technology in our pocket revealing who we are to the enemy, potentially, right? We should be very wise, just like the 3-body problem. We don't know what we're advertising by just simply being human and being friendly and being honestly aloof about a lot of stuff. And we should start to pay attention to that. Keep your eye out if you're into UFOs, if you're into military weaponry, if you're into cutting edge tech. Keep your eye on this with us, right? And we'll keep you informed as best we can here at Skyfire News about this topic. Again, there's things we're connecting here. I don't see a lot of people connecting. So if you like what you're seeing, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll keep you updated as best we can. But yeah, Red, what are your final thoughts on Havana?
Maybe with UFO Joe, maybe it's some kind of like breakaway Illuminati tech. It's weird. Yeah, like you were saying the other day, the ones that really creep me out are the ones where the guy was walked in on his kids, right? 2 kids, and they were moving in unison.
Oh my God. Describe that, dude. That's the creepy. That gives me the creeps, man.
That one had a van too, but apparently he walks in on his kids, right? They're complaining or they've been having these issues, and then at one point in time,
was it an ambassador or something? Like, who
was some kind of Canadian official, yeah.
Okay. And he's experiencing this stuff. He's getting headaches. He's feeling woozy. He's describing not feeling right. And then he goes and checks on his children.
And then when he gets inside, both of the kids are actually moving in unison on their beds, and it's like 3 a.m. And yeah, they just keep on moving together, and they're kind of like in a trance, I think. So yeah, pretty wild. I think the guy actually also saw a van outside, which kind of points to maybe some kind of human explanation, but still very strange. The other one I found very strange was the one that happened on the White House from like some White House staffer, It's a pretty delicate position to have that happen. But yeah,
absolutely.
I guess we're going to wait and see. There's definitely a coordinated mainstream media push right now to talk about it again. So
yeah, and I can't find the clip, but we're gonna find this. If you're not following Skyfire News on Twitter, I suggest you do. We're gonna find this clip. 2 years ago, there was a congressman asked, "What's coming up that's super important that we should be on the lookout for?" And his answer was straight up like, Havana Syndrome and the UAP issue are going to be the top issues coming up. And look at us now.
Look at us now.
Look at us now. We're really doing it. We're really doing it. Funny enough, my camera decided to just literally like not die, but it disconnected from my computer. So good timing, right?
Great timing, everyone. Woo!
Woo!
Have patience on me. Don't give up on me. I'm on cosmic time.
That's how my camera feels.
Oh, those are the same song. I was like, are those the same song?
They are the same song. They are.
It's such a great song.
We're gonna get to the bottom. I want to hear the melody resolve every time, or I get a little lost in the sauce.
Anxious.
I agree with Kimball. Red, your shirt is fresh AF, dude. It 100% is.
Stripes on stripes, bro.
Stripes on stripes on stripes. Dude, Boston Deadhead. Fun show tonight. Thank you guys for being here. You guys really make the show. And we appreciate everybody who migrates over from Twitter to our YouTube. It's a new venture for us. But on Twitter, on X, we were able to really make a name for ourselves with Skyfire. Some big names and good news. The hard work of like Red, myself, the people we have on our team. It's just it really did some shit, and we're pumped about it. But the streaming and the news is kind of where it's at right now. So again, thank you guys so much for coming over. Thank you for the like. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for being here tonight. And again, thanks for being here tomorrow, where we'll be at 6 o'clock West Side time every day with the UFO news.
Kimball, I'll see you. I'll talk to you after the show. But yeah, have a great evening, everyone. Woo!
Whoop, whoop. We're gonna play you guys out as we always do, with the Skyfire News commercial produced by Logan Black.
Sick of the same old news that's more snooze than news? Then crank up the volume for Skyfire News, the only broadcast that's literally out of this world.
As an astrophysicist, I can tell you that the universe is full of mysteries, but with Skyfire, you can uncover some of those mysteries from your phone in your pocket.
I've tangoed with tales so top secret, they're stored on the dark side of the moon. Skyfire News, it's like they've hacked the galactic mainframe, serving up scoops so juicy, they make Area 51 look like a public library.
With unrivaled extraterrestrial expertise and interstellar insights, Skyfire News brings you the latest from the final frontier. We're not just ahead of the curve, we're bending space-time.